now watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
Good morning, good morning. Another episode of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador, Perry White, my man on the board, Garrett Edgerson. Good morning, everybody. How y'all feeling, man? Coach Garrett, how y'all feeling this Wednesday, hump day?
Oh, it's hump day?
It's hump day.
I thought Friday was hump day.
Friday is the end of the week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get it rolling. Let's go, Perry.
TGIF, you remember those days?
Let's go. Let's get the show started.
Yeah, it started. We rocking and rolling. This is it. I'm Perry White. Of course, he's Roger Cador, my man. Garrett Edgerson on the board. Good morning to everybody out there. Good morning, Ronald Hunt, on there checking in from Monroe, Louisiana. Good morning. Said he headed to work, so we thank you for tuning in with us this morning. And, man, Coach, an eventful weekend for you going down to the Hank Aaron Invitational and being able to be with MLB and some of those big-time people from there and the youth, the young people, to be able to talk to them as well.
One of the most talented 14-year-old players was from Monroe.
Really?
A two-sport athlete. I can't remember his name right now, but he was one of the most talented player in the whole thing, whole event. And they brought in the top African-American players from around the country, 13 to 15, 16 to 18-year-old. And I'm telling you, it was 250 kids total, and you're talking about players. Scouts better not be saying that black kids aren't playing baseball. That's a lie if they say it. Where did these 250 kids come from? They came out of the sky, out of the ground? No. They'll just happen to be playing around the league, in leagues around the country. And I have to give a big shout out to MLB for having the people around the country identify these kids and then bringing them to Vero Beach, which is Jackie Robinson town. Jackie Roosevelt Robinson, number 42. This is his place now.
Talk to me in terms of the setup once you got there, what things were like, and what your schedule was like as you was there and the people that you interacted with.
Well, my thing is to do what I do. Obviously, they had the kids in two groups, 13 to 15, 16 to 18, and my job was to speak to them and try to motivate them, give them a motivational talk. And the other thing is to do what I do. I moved around, talk to the parents, interact with the parents, try to make them feel good about what is taking place. And obviously, the teachers, all former big league players, I did a lot of interacting with them to find out what the kids were like, who was talented. And so we found out, got a lot of things done. And these kids are getting #1 teaching from some of the best, and it doesn't cost them anything, Perry. It's free trip, a hotel, free airline tickets, free meals. So the one of the most important thing I thought for my event was that I got to eat in the same place they were eating. Back in the days when Branch Rickey understood that the hotels in Florida weren't going to allow him to house his black players, he bought a Army barrack and turned it into Dodger Town. And they lived on campus. They ate there. And now what MLB did when Dodgers moved from Vero Beach, Florida to Arizona, MLB went in and bought the place and renovated it. You're talking about a really top-notch facility. And MLB always does things right, you know?
Your relationship with MLB, how would you say it has grown over the years to where they've really trusted you to be around and to be at the table to talk about ideas and even to speak on behalf of MLB for the next generation to be involved with Major League Baseball?
Well, it's gotten to the point now I am a consultant for MLB, and my specialty is the HBCUs. They needed someone who knew HBCUs, who can maneuver around and get information and be a go-to guy. So that's where I come in. But it has really grown from when Jimmy Lee Solomon and I started the Urban Invitation. way back in 2008, sometime 2006. And then being on the Commissioner Diversity, Bud Selig Diversity Committee, getting a lot of information there, and sitting at the table with all of the big hitters in baseball, owners, president, general managers, scouting director, sitting at the table with the decision makers was big. Now with Tony Reagan, as a consultant, as we grow, and the Youth Foundation, that all of those people I'm involved with in one way or another.
You talk about Tony Reagan and the commissioners and all of these people, but when you're in front of these kids, do you have to explain who the hell Hank Aaron is? Because I'm sure it's a lot of history sometimes they get lost. And to think Hank Aaron, that's been a long time ago for them to understand truly what you're a part of is the Hank Aaron Invitational.
I don't really talk about Hank Aaron because they know who he is. There's a lot of information. I mean, it's all over the place. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to do an overkill with these kids.
Yeah.
The greatest fun I had when I spoke to the 13 to 15-year-old, and I spoke about someone only one kid knew, Sadaharu. Sadaharu was a Japanese ball player, a legendary ball player. He had 868 home runs. A little guy, 5'8", 150 pounds. So I spoke about him. I told a story about him because he had a compelling story that they needed to hear. How did he get so good being so little? You see what I'm saying? And he took 1,500 swings a day, whether he was 4 for 4 or 0 for 4. It didn't matter. He went to his hotel or his house, 1,500 swings. That's how he got to be so good.
Yeah. What was the weather like for you?
Well, it was hot, but it was beautiful.
Yeah. I know you love tropical, beautiful weather, so did that fit the Coach Cador weather bill for you?
Right, but MLB had built a $10 million beautiful indoor facility on Jackie Robinson Place. Mm-hmm. And so I spent a lot of time in there because a lot of kids had to do individual work in there. Mm-hmm. And so I spent some time in there. I did move around to all of the fields. They had about 6 fields with players going on simultaneously. So I moved around to see the teaching and the coaching and the players just trying to play.
In an All-Star game, would you ever like to sit in to be like a special guest umpire?
Ooh.
You. Do you think you can call those balls and strikes?
I don't want to do that. Being a coach is as unpopular as I want to be.
Yeah.
Coaches ain't popular the way they used to be.
Umpires aren't really either.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You're worse than a coach. Listen, it goes to show you how sick parents are becoming. I was there watching, and there's a parent had Prime 2 on the back of his shirt. And with me talking, I say, "Oh, you prime time. Yeah, my son is out there." He goes into his son, and the mother is sitting there. I said, "Why is the mother not saying anything?" I said, "That's who I should be talking to." I said, "You give parents a bad name,
Yeah.
And he's laughing. And said, "Oh, my son can do this, can do that, and that." And she said, "This is why." She said, "He does it to everybody, sir." I said, "You don't need to sell your son. He's here. Mm-hmm. If he could play, there'll be someone who will see him." And his son was just so-so. He was just a so-so ball player, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But he was good enough to be there. You got me? Because remember,
he may be good where he's from, but when you're amongst all of this talent,
yes.
I tell kids, especially since I officiate football, and there's so many kids today where I think with the age of social media, they're more caught up in terms of what they look like with the shields and all of the gear more so than the actual game. And then you think you good because you're probably the best within your local neighborhood and your local community. But when you start going to these camps and all of this, you find out there's a world bigger than your neighborhood. There's a world bigger than your local community in the region where you've probably been the best. And I think for you, coaching, college baseball probably opened a lot of guys' eyes up to that when they stepped foot on campus and you had a roster deep full of guys from all over the nation, and you finally had to tell a kid, you're not as good as you thought you was, huh? You're going to have to really work because there's some guys here that really are talented.
All over the world, because I had Dominican, Puerto Rican, Venezuelans, Panamanians. I even had kids from Asia, you know. So I remember one year in the 90s, I had kids from 5 different continents that played for me. So, yes, I had an international team, and you had to really be able to play. The thing, though, Perry, is that if parents could just understand that coaches aren't trying to hurt their kids. That's what is lost through this whole phenomenon, what has happened. They act like coaches are the enemy. Now, I agree they got some bad coaches out there. They shouldn't be coaching. But for the most part, the coaches I know, they're trying to develop kids and win and build their reputation up. You can't do that by hurting kids.
Yeah.
But some people they're lost on what they are.
I think the parents try to cut corners. They don't. The saying is, "Gee, trust the process." I don't think they want to trust the process when it comes to the developmental portion of athletics. They just kind of want to get propelled into a position because my son may be bigger or faster or stronger, but skip the fundamental aspect of the game when you talk about developing. And that's when they have that conflict with coaches, where you're not playing my son or my daughter because of this and this and that, but because they may be bigger, faster, or stronger does not necessarily mean the fundamental game, because you start to see it during those eras, the breakdown sometime in games where that kid may not have that mental factor or that it factor when the time is right.
It could be. It's a lot of other things.
Yeah.
In baseball, this travel ball has created the issue because they pay a lot of money.
Who got the most money?
And then the kids get to play whether they can play or not.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's where it's all at. Them coaches taking the money, so they play them.
Yeah, that happens at the private schools a lot too.
Oh my goodness, that's where it's all at. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's where it's at. The private schools.
Yeah, those private schools. You know, dad is a big donor. He's giving all this money. My kid better play on whatever day. As a coach, did you ever get approached by parents like that?
They tried.
Yeah.
And it all happened toward the end of my coaching career.
Oh.
But I had nothing to do with it. I mean,
yeah.
I was straight line. It made it to the way at the end of my coaching career. I really did not want in the beginning because we had really good relationship. We could talk about their kids, the good, the bad, the ugly. And if there was something little Johnny needed, we could talk about it. You got me?
What was the difference? Just a new generation of parents, a new way of thinking?
It's a new generation of parents.
Yeah.
And it goes back to they want their kids to have something without paying the price. The second group of kids I did talk to about demands, and I asked them, do you all know what demand is? How many of y'all would love to have someone make a demand on you? Only 2 kids put their hands up.
They didn't understand
125. They didn't want no one making demands. And then I went on and gave examples about people making demand and what was accomplished.
Because I would like to be in high demand. I want everybody to be like Perry. You know, when you in high demand, that brings in people to be attracted to you.
If they're making demands on you.
Oh, okay.
That's
the other way.
It's the other way.
Yeah.
How many of you all want love if someone make a demand on you?
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 kids put their hands up. And then I would have to explain that if you don't make demand, people only give the minimum. Demand forces you to do a little more.
I'm glad you said that. I actually had a conversation with some people not too long ago My son turned 7, and I was having this conversation in terms of talking about my son and the discipline and structure that comes with a kid being that age. And a lot of people saying, well, Perry, he's only 7, you know, you have to. But I said, this is the age where the structure of who he's going to be, he's going to learn it now. He's not going to learn it later. And if you don't instill that in him, how do you expect for him to figure it out? He has not experienced life to have an understanding of how to truly figure things out. He's going to need to be steered in a direction. He can have his own mind, but he's going to have to be steered in a direction. And one of the reasons why I bring that up, because you talk about demand, I always spoke about if I gave a kid an option, because I don't believe in giving kids options. I believe letting them know what it is you need to do so you can be the best. And, you know, it was like, well, maybe you should give them. I said, no, there is no options for me, because kids are going to always choose the easiest route. If I say, hey, would you rather go outside and practice and run and get yourself together? Would you rather sit in here and play the video game? What you think they're going to choose?
They won't play that video game.
So how can a kid ever find out his true potential if you don't push them? And go. Kids won't ever push themselves for their potential. That's
well,
why
adults don't either. Nobody does. It's very difficult to push yourself.
It is.
That's why people hire trainers. Now, go ahead.
And that's why, you know, the whole conversation was, there's an idea that I don't sit back and allow him to figure it out through options. He's a child. My experiences trump Google. You can Google answers all day and watch YouTube to have an understanding, but it's nothing bigger than the experience. And through that experience is what I'm pushing. So you can be the best that you can be. You can be better than you ever thought you could be, but if you don't get pushed, you'll never unlock your potential. And that's what happens to so many people. Nobody ever pushed them to be their greatest. Because I said there's a lot of Michael Jordans walking around. There are plenty of guys that could have been greater than Michael Jordan. But you know what? There was somebody that wasn't around to be able to push them, to be able to unlock that potential, and they sold themselves short. And that's ultimately what it be when you hear about a guy, man, this dude was so great back in the day, or this dude or that girl or this, but they needed to be unlocked with that potential.
And another thing, Perry, and I've mentioned this 20-some years ago. I mentioned it 20-some years ago. I was ahead of the game. I said, we're going to get some bad people walking the street, because soon kids are born. And what do the parents do? Push them into daycare. The parents don't give the kids that value. The kids are learning other people's value. And it's a process of working. Parents have to work, so they can't raise their kid. The daycare people give their kids that value system. Just think about it. You were talking about your son. The kids grew up in daycare, and the value is being taught there. When the mother picked them kids up in the afternoon, sometime it's late, all they got a chance to do is be with them 1 hour. The kids in the bed, the mother in the bed. They get up, drop them off at daycare. None of her value system or the parents' value system are being taught.
And kids are easily influenced by what they see. I remember when my son was in daycare for a while, they was picking up biting habits, biting each other.
Yeah.
I said, where did I'm talking, he was a child, but where are you learning? But you're learning it from another kid that seems to be doing it, and they're doing it. And so it turns into, well, even the thumb sucking, they watch another kid, it looks like it's something. All of that is easily influenced from what they learn by seeing others. And that's why another thing, you got to watch who you have your kids around in terms of
daycare. You can't control who brings that kid in there. You're around all kinds. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I said it 20-some years ago. I nailed it. I said,
well, these days I think it's beyond daycare.
Well,
these
it
days,
is, but
it's the phone. It's the internet.
Yeah, but daycare plays a part.
YouTube.
All of that plays a part.
And that's what make them think they smarter than us these days. They think YouTube and Google trumps experiences.
And the other thing, because parents feel guilty, they allowed their kids to get away through a thing because they know they hadn't been there. So they say, go ahead and do it. You got me? They give them a pass.
I lay that people's elbow. I put the smack down. I don't care. I'm from the old school. Look, hey, ain't no timeouts. Ain't no talking. Put that smack down on you.
And about this.
Yeah. Well, I hug you after because I let you know I love you. I did what I had to do for a reason. It ain't because I hate you, but you will understand one day in life when you in a direction, you notice the rest of them going in a different direction. The same way I did now that I'm older, and I understand why. All right, let's get ready to take a break. Enough of me laying the smack down on them kids, but they need it. I ain't lying. More kids need the smack down laid on them, okay? Let's take a break. We'll be back more of Chopping It Up with Coach Cador, all right?
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Take your fun full throttle with a single touch. There are places to fly high, swing low, or make the old bell ring. Your targets are in sight. Better your game by playing ball of almost every variety. Need to catch your breath? Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights, gravitate towards something out of this world, even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. BRAC, we're more than a playground.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
All right, we're back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador. Of course, I'm Perry White. He's Roger Cador. My man Garrett Edgerton on the board. And, we were talking about the Hank Aaron Invitational. I don't know what it is. Coach don't like y'all. Look, the dreads. I don't know. Coach ain't feeling the dreads. He want me to cut my. Matter of fact, he want me to have what he has. You want me to go bald, Coach?
No.
You think I'll make it further if I go bald?
You'll make it a lot of places, man. You're good. You're good.
I don't think being. I guess for me, the hair doesn't mean anything, and maybe at one time it probably did in the world of professionalism, but in the world today, man, I think the hair is fine, man. You know, it don't matter whether you got the bald head, the dread head, or you got just the low cut.
Look how neat Garrett looks. Look, and a nice young man with a beautiful smile. You have a good smile, but it.
What's wrong with my hair? My hair is, I'm not nappy head. I don't have those Rasta locks or nothing. You can see my parts.
Hey, listen, we had some good players over at the Hank Aaron Invitation.
Did they have dreads?
Maybe. You know, believe it was interesting. I'm glad we mentioned that MLB did bring in a barber to groom kids up. Mm-hmm. You know, some kids did have dread and had the hair still, but they made an attempt to help kids be more neat looking with their hair.
Would you say some of these kids, or vast majority, that they come from rough backgrounds?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
No?
I don't know.
Because I was wondering when you made the statement saying, you know, it's about 250 of them that you will go and say if African-American kids aren't playing baseball anymore or interested, that's a lie. I'm interested to see what backgrounds are these kids coming from. Are they like the black token kid that's on a majority white squad?
No, they have to be able to play.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, I'm saying you could be the good black kid on the white squad, right?
Right. Well, most of them obviously did come from that.
Yeah.
Because that's how they got seen.
Mm-hmm.
You got me? But, you know, I don't like the word token. You know, but, they did come off a situation. You know, they had kids, I mean, from all over. You know what was so ironic after I gave this speech for the younger kids on Saturday? A big, good-looking kid, athlete from L.A., came up to me and he said, "My grandmother said we're related." I said, "Really?" I said, "Get your grandmother on the phone." And I talked to her. Really, we are related.
Really?
Yeah, so that I was telling my son and my sister about the experience. I said, it's just amazing, you know. I'm glad that the kid did do that because he liked my talk.
Mm-hmm.
It was easy for him to come and say that to me because he liked what I was saying. So that was important. I had the same speech. I had a 13-year-old from Omaha, Nebraska, came and talked to me. And you know what he asked me?
What did he ask you?
How can one deal with mental health? He said, I have mental health issues. I said, son, you one hell of a person. I said, there are a whole bunch of people with mental health. They ain't going to come and talk about it. And I said, it's unfortunate you're leaving tomorrow, but I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Talk to your parents and about your situation and try to find a teacher. I said, a coach probably is not going to be the right person because he's just trying to win games.
It's about business for him.
But I said, teachers, find a teacher you can trust in. They'll help you because that's what they do. He said, I will do that.
In your early years of coaching, mental health, that term wasn't big. I'm not sure what they would have, maybe just issues at home back then or just issues in life. But what was that like during that time compared to now where it is a term, mental health, it is illness, it is taken a lot more serious. People dive a lot more into making sure that they can help more so than back in the day. I felt like people just said, toughen up, to hell with it, move on.
That's what we did back then.
Yeah.
That was the way you fix mental health. And the one that
ain't really funny, but that's funny.
Well, yeah, that's the way it was fixed. And the one who had really big problem fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
They weren't able to do it.
Didn't feel like anybody related to them.
But the ones who were strong enough and could toughen it up, we moved forward. Now, that was pre-COVID-19. COVID-19 created a whole new monster for mental health issues.
Would you talk to me about that?
Well, what it did, because isolation was the only way to protect yourself. We isolated these kids, and the only person they could deal with was that darn computer. And the computer don't talk back. They can't discuss. You know, the computer, even though you see it, it can't see you. And having interaction is important, where you can talk to someone. Even if you're young, just being able to talk is a big help. So we're finding out that COVID-19 created a lot more mental health issues than we really realize. And now we got to try and deal with it. I'm pleased because a month or so ago, I did mention to MLB the value of us trying to deal with mental health, because I realize it. And to their credit, tonight they have someone coming in who worked with mental health in the NBA, is speaking to the kids on mental health. I really applaud them because they jumped right on it. They didn't hesitate, you know, and that's why you have to be on committees and have a voice in the room and talk about things that are important. That's not athletic related. You know, if you want a better athlete, you're going to have to deal with the mental health issues.
I commend a former coach at Southern, Coach Dawson Odoms.
Yes.
He had Dr. Fountain around the football program,
Yes.
and unfortunately, Dr. Fountain passed away. But, you know, he understood that aspect of having her around, because he said, man, you know, having that conversation with him, he's now the head coach at Norfolk State. He said, man, these kids deal with a lot, whether it's a girlfriend, whether it's issues back at home, or just grades, dealing with us, coaching them and pushing them. There's a lot that they deal with, and I commend him, because I thought when I saw him understand to have Dr. Fountain around, I had not seen that around other football programs, but he really understood the purpose of these. They want to talk to somebody, and a lot of times they're not comfortable with talking to a coach, like you said before, because sometimes a coach will use that against you.
That's
right.
right.
Out here have it, you know, because your girlfriend, now you feel played, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I started it way back, dealing with mental health and stuff way back in 2003. I had a young man. I went to the counseling department, and I can't think of the name. It's killing me right now. He's really good. I convinced Dr. Irvin that let me have Kevin Triple is his name. I said, let me have Triple to work with my kids. And she agreed. And he did such a fantastic job. And Southern should have hired him then. They needed it. And he worked with my kids, Ricky Weeks and them guys, and he did it the right way. But since then, he's gotten jobs at 3 high-powered schools doing this. And we had him. We had him right here at Southern and wouldn't take advantage of it.
Sound about right.
So, but I was ahead of the game then when I had him come in and work with the kids. Listen, man, if you care about kids, you're going to care more than winning. It's more than winning baseball games, football, and basketball. Not knowing football, you got to win football game because people are not realistic. You know what I mean? They're not realistic. So, but, you know.
And that it can change the trajectory of a guy's game.
Yes.
When I go in and not have so much clouded up, now I can actually focus. I remember when Garrett and I was working on some things some years back, and I was dealing with some stuff, and there was some things clouding me up, but I had to take the time. I do good for myself to be able to evaluate, but a lot of people don't have that same thing or same way about them. But, you know, you really, sometimes in the writing world, they call it writer's block. In the music world, you know, sometimes you can't write music because it's so when you clear your head, and I can even imagine as a coach, the mental health just not on the young person, it can be on the coach as well. You need some time to where you can clear your head and think. And sometimes to clear your head and think, you got to get things up off you and speak to somebody. And a lot of people, I think, just don't trust many people to be able to speak on it.
Yeah, I probably needed to do that myself, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I toughed it up.
Yeah.
Toughed it out.
You was from the old school.
Old school.
What you say? Your coach back at Southern, he didn't give a damn about none of that, did he?
None. You. And that's what we grew up under.
Yeah.
A guy like that who cared nothing about you but only about winning.
Just come on, get with it. All right, let's get ready to take another break, and we'll come back. Good morning to Edwin Moore, man. Thank you. Oh, he said, suck it up, son. How many times did you hear that? Suck it up, son.
Well, more than that, I heard.
Oh, okay. Pause. We ain't going. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back. More of Chopping It Up with Cador.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe & Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Take your fun full throttle with a single touch. There are places to fly high, swing low, or make the old bell ring. Your targets are in sight. Better your game by playing ball of almost every variety. Need to catch your breath? Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. Breck, we're more than a playground.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
All right, we're back. More Chopping It Up with Cador. I'm Perry White. He's the man, the myth, the legend himself, Roger Cador. My man on the board, the great Garrett Edgerton. Man, hey, he can do it all with the cameras and whatever else. And as we continue to keep today's show going, good morning to everybody that's tuned in. Hit that subscribe button if you go back and watch this show after the fact. We'd love to have you subscribe and be able to tune in. Like today, A lot of you may have thought we may have been on Monday, but hey, we're on a Wednesday. So that's why if you hit that subscribe button, you'll get that notification. You never know when Coach and I might pop up. We try to keep it on schedule for you on Mondays, but sometimes things happen. Travel, it is the summer, obligations. And so if you hit that subscribe button, you'll get the notification anytime we go live. And that way it'll help you and it'll help us help you so you can tune in and get us live. But if not, you can always go back and rewatch any of the previous episodes. Be sure to share and let other people know what we're doing here in terms of with the legend Cador. Coach, talk a little football right quick. SWAC Media Day wrapped up yesterday. Interesting when you look at the predicted order of finish. I'll start over in the SWAC East and start from the bottom. One of the newcomers to the SWAC, Bethune-Cookman, picked to finish 6th over in the SWAC East with Mississippi Valley. Never thought there'd be a time a team would finish below Mississippi Valley, but Mississippi Valley picked 5th. Alabama A&M and Cornell Manor in that 4th spot. Alabama State, Eddie Robertson Jr., no relation to Eddie Robertson over there at Grambling in that 3rd spot. Jackson State, big bad Jackson State, now post Dion put into that 2nd spot. T.C. Taylor is now their head coach, a longtime assistant at Jackson State, played quarterback and wide receiver for the Tigers. And in the number 1 spot, the Rattlers of Florida A&M, Coach Willie Simmons, former coach at Prairie View, now taking over at FAMU. He's been there quite some time. Now have them poised to be in a position to take over now that it seems that Deion Sanders has left Jackson State. When you look at that SWAC East, you liking those rankings so far in that SWAC East?
Give a shout out to Edwin Moore. Thanks for sharing with us that you saw some in the footage from the Hank Aaron invitation, and it was really a good time. Getting back to you, that poll ain't nothing but a poll. You can take a match and scratch and burn the hell out of it.
Well,
you have to vote.
Yeah, you do.
You have to vote, and it means nothing.
Yeah.
It really means nothing. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Injuries, conditions, mistakes, all of that will play a part in who comes out on top.
Makes things exciting, especially.
And it creates excitement for the fans.
Yeah.
Give them something to talk about. It's really a talking point, bragging rights, something that the fans have to deal with.
For a second, I forgot I was talking to a coach. The average coach talking to hell, we're just looking to go 1-0, right?
Well, you play them each day. I've never said that. I said you just get up and try to be at your best and play your best game.
There you go. Let's go over to the SWAC West, starting at the bottom. My hometown, Pine Bluff, UAPB with a new head coach, Alonzo Hampton, picked to be at the bottom. I hate it for him, but hopefully they don't let that get to their head and they can get out of that dormant stage.
No, they got something to shoot for.
That's
it's
it.
It's better to be picked at the bottom
than to have that target on your back. Number 5, Prairie View Panthers, Bubba McDowell is taking over that program. They were 1 game away from the SWAC championship appearance last year. And like you say, games have to be played. They were the favorite. They went on the road to Mississippi Valley, a team that nobody thought was going to win. I think had only had 2 wins on the season, had just come off a big loss here in Baton Rouge against Southern. And guess what? They do the unthinkable and upset Prairie View and cost Prairie View a shot at the SWAC championship. You took and underestimated your opponent on the road, and you get a bit for it. Grambling State in the number 4 spot, of course. Hugh Jackson, former NFL head coach, now at Grambling State in year 2. What he talked about a lot was getting the program headed in the right direction now, changing the culture and getting the guys in terms of building depth. And what you find out is you need depth when number 1 goes down. You got to have number 2 and number 3 that can come in and be able to be productive. And that's what he believes with this team now in year 2. He's starting to build that depth that he believes that's going to help that program. At number 3, the Tigers of Texas Southern. Now, when you talk about polls and burning it to hell with it, when I saw Texas Southern this high, that's what I thought too. But I think a lot of people like what Texas Southern has to offer with their quarterback, Andrew Body. Andrew Body comes in. He was 2nd team All-SWAC this year, perhaps maybe the most talented quarterback in the conference. And that's going to be interesting because Texas Southern was in a position once Prairie View lost last year to then take over and get their shot at the SWAC championship. Guess what, Coach? They were up by 14 on the road at Alabama A&M. If they win the game, they go to the SWAC championship. Up 14 with under 6 minutes left. Guess what? Their star quarterback, Andrew Body, gets hurt. The game flips. Alabama A&M wins the game. And Texas Southern, on the same day as their rival Prairie View, with an open door to the SWAC championship against a team that they were picked to beat, lose and ultimately don't get to the championship. So Texas Southern, I think a lot of people feel with high hopes with Andrew Body and what he has to offer. Number 2, Alcorn State, a team I have a lot of respect for, rightfully so. If you're a Southern grad or a Southern fan, you know you have a lot of defeats to the Braves of Alcorn. There's something about Alcorn when they take on Southern in football, they just get up about it. I don't know what it is about it, but Fred McNair, a proven coach. He's won a pair of SWAC championships in the conference. I think when you look at his teams, they always play tough physical football. If they get back to running the ball like Alcorn does, I think as always, they'll be a tough out, which is why you see them in the second spot. And at number 1, Southern University, it winning the SWAC West. Of course, they won it last year. Coach Eric Dooley is a coach that come in, highly touted when you talk about with the talent that he has around the program. And there's a lot of question marks for me with Southern being in that top spot. Of course, breaking in a new quarterback and a lot of other things that you'll see from Southern this year. But I think the respect factor on Coach Dooley is there. He's been to the SWAC championship 2 straight years, one with Prairie View, now one with Southern. And I think that you have to put respect on a coach that's had success, just similar to like you. When people say Roger Cador is the head coach of whatever team, particularly Southern, for so many years, there was respect because you knew Coach Cador was going to get those boys up to play no matter what it was. And I think the same respect for Southern when you look at that. And overall, it's looking like a potential predicted preseason poll, FAMU versus Southern, for a potential SWAC championship matchup, which when you look at rivalry and historical perspective, that would be huge when you talk about the SWAC.
Well, yeah, and the Bain factor.
Yeah.
You know, you add that to it. Because you can't talk about football, FAMU Southern, without talking about the Bain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think FAMU was the first historical black school, Bain, that got a lot of pub.
Mm-hmm.
And then Southern came into the mix. And a lot of other people are trying to take the glory, you know, like the Grambling and Texas Southern, Alcorn Jackson. They're all saying,
Mm-hmm.
but, you know, when Dr. Isaac Gregg was there, it was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the football team, it'll be interesting. I hope Coach Dooley is able to rally his troops and get them ready to play because it's tough. You know, Southern has a tough schedule.
Yeah, start out the gate with 2 of the top teams out the East. Alabama State, Southern goes on the road to take on Alabama State. Should be an interesting game. And then the Pete Richardson Classic here in Baton Rouge against Jackson State. Of course, it'll be a non-conference game, but still.
Oh, it's non-conference?
Mm-hmm. Southern and Jackson rotated off of each other's schedule, and Southern picked up Bethune-Cookman out of the East. And so there's 2 teams still wanted to play for the financial factor and as well as the rivalry factor. So they decided to continue to play each other. And the talks early on was the conversation of that game potentially being held in Birmingham, Alabama at Legion's Field, but I think everything kind of fell through, and so they'll be here in Baton Rouge. And so you look across the board, Alabama State is a team that I think could be, if you look in my opinion, I think they could be the dark horse out of the SWAC East. Last year, they had Jackson State and Florida A&M on the ropes. Florida A&M getting a victory late against Alabama State and against Jackson State. I think no team played Jackson State better from in conference than the way Alabama State did. Just not enough offense, but they are a good defensive team. They play very good, sound, fundamental football, and I like Alabama State and what they could be. If there's a dark horse, I think I would go with Alabama State as my dark horse, as a team that could potentially sneak up and get everybody off guard. But and Southern will find out first with that first game. That's Southern on the road, and if you go to Montgomery, that is a tough place to play when you're talking about their fans factored in and everything else. They are a hostile bunch. When they say make it a home field advantage and hostile, they are that. And there's few places I think I feel that from in the SWAC, but Alabama State is one. And so, you know, that'll be interesting. Southern has to go on the road to Alcorn State. Alcorn is another team that I think can surprise some people as well. And so you look all the way around, I think the position of the SWAC this year, there's no clear-cut favorite. For once in a long time, it seems like there's an opportunity for anybody. It's up for grabs. And we haven't had that in a while, especially when you had Deion Sanders and Jackson State dominating for 2 consecutive years.
The thing about the Alabama schools, something unique, it's not unique, but when you think about how many schools play football in that state, you're not talking about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama has got the same population the size of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
But we have 11 schools that plays football in the state of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
We may have 5 or 6 that plays in Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I think they have a lot. You got North Alabama, Jacksonville State, Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Auburn. Did I say Alabama?
South Alabama.
South Alabama, Tuskegee, Troy. Who else? That's 9 right there. Miles College, that's 10.
Yeah, but listen, I made a mistake, but I should have said Division One.
Okay.
They only have 2 Division One schools that play football.
You talking about on the FBS level?
Yeah.
I'll give them 4. South Alabama and Troy.
Yeah, right.
And then Alabama and Auburn.
So it gives them an opportunity for picking.
Yeah.
So there are kids going to fall into them because if they don't leave the state, they're in that many Division One schools.
Did you recruit a lot in Alabama when we talk about baseball?
No.
No? What? Not a lot of good baseball?
Oh, good baseball players, just it's rural and it's difficult.
Yeah. Trust me. I found that out the hard way going to Troy. Never again. I don't care whose schedule is on. I'm not going to Troy again. That was just you're on this back road. Listen to my rant right quick, Coach, all right? I'm pretty sure you've been on some back roads. But this back road in the woods, windy, curvy road, no shoulders, no cell signal, and you're just out there for about an hour and a half. I absolutely hated that. And I said in my head, Alabama, me. If something happens, how am I supposed to – it just didn't sit well with me. So I get what you're saying, why I probably wouldn't go and recruit either. If it's not the main cities, Mobile, Birmingham, and Montgomery, I'll probably stay out of the rest of those areas, right?
I got you.
You a smart guy, huh? You knew to stay out of Alabama, huh?
Well, because of money-wise, I had to go where I could look at several kids.
Yeah.
On one trip, and that wasn't going to happen in Alabama.
I was going to ask you, too, with your budget. You talking about all these international kids, man. What that travel budget was looking like as you went out to recruit?
I didn't go international recruiting. Right. They fell in my hands, so to speak.
Oh, gotcha.
And I raised some money to recruit. I raised some money, so I made it happen.
In this day and age, when you look at high school versus transfer portal, in your day, it was not a transfer portal, but you still have the luxury of the junior college to be able to go get guys out of junior college. How big were you on getting guys directly out of high school versus junior college route?
I got mainly all of my kids out of high school.
Yeah.
And this is what schools got to do now, utilize the junior colleges because of the transfer portal. They're going to have to go to the junior college and make things happen.
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of challenge, but it is what it is.
Good ball on the junior college level when you look at baseball?
Some areas.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, some areas junior college exists as a community.
Yeah.
They call them community college.
Yeah, like Kansas, you'll get a lot of
those.
And
the reason they call them that because they created them for the community.
Yeah. You got one here, BRCC.
Yeah. And before this, I remember someone said, we got a community. This will give all our boys locally a chance to play. Well, if you want to be successful, you may have to go outside of that.
Yeah.
Your community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what people are fighting with. Well, do you go outside of your community or do you stay in the community? Get your head beat up.
Yeah. What was it like for you? Did you have many guys transferring into the program from other programs?
Not back then.
Yeah, not back then. Yeah.
We would only take 1 or 2 guys because we had the players.
Yeah.
We had the players.
Did you deal with a lot of guys wanting to leave the program to go to other programs? No.
Guys set out. They would sit and wait their turn.
Mm.
Now, I was fortunate because that's not the case. Wasn't the case everywhere.
Yeah.
I had good kids sitting out, but they knew they had really good players ahead of them.
Yeah. Because these day and age, that's why I'm asking, that's almost obsolete now.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to sit back and wait on Roger Cador in front of me and think I'm going to waste a year when I can go somewhere right now and immediately probably be the starter.
Or will you get a Ricky Weeks and you tell him?
That's an all hell no in 2023 for
That's
a lot
right.
of these
There
young
you
people.
go.
Yeah, they are.
That's right.
You know, it is a different era when you start to talk about that, and that has to typically probably make coaching a little bit more difficult in this area.
It is because you can't really coach the way you know what is right.
Yeah.
You're out there every day. You know what's best for the kid and the team, or the team and the kid, either way you put it, whatever is first. And you can't make that decision because the kids and the parents are hovering over your head with a javelin to stick it in you if you don't do what they want.
I just saw that, actually. I read an article or saw something about Arch Manning at Texas. Of course, he's the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning. He won't sign his NIL deal unless they name him the starter. So it's kind of like he's holding it hostage, like, if you don't name me the starter, you're not getting anything out of me. And so now you got that factored in with the NIL deals.
Hold up. Who is going to get something out of the NIL deal other than him?
Right. So he wants to be the starter, but I guess there might be some boosters and some other people around Texas that are like, hey, we need you to sign. And he's like, no, if I'm not named the starter, you know. And so when you start to have that, you start to have that outside interest that potentially are donors to the program that say, when it goes back, when we start to talk about those parents and those private schools, I'm the big donor at the school. You need to go. My son needs to be playing. You know, that's how it's starting to factor, where it seems like to me I'm starting to see that whirlwind of an effect that is trickling down to the college level.
That coach has got a problem. That quarterback he's got is pretty good.
Yeah, Steve Sarkisian, and that's going to be a tough one because I think they almost pretty much promised Arch Manning, like, you come here, you got it. And he could have went anywhere in the country. So now, once again, why would he want to sit behind a guy when he could have went many places and been a starter? Now you telling me to sit behind somebody and I feel like I'm better than that.
Why can't you beat him out?
There you. Thank you. Competition. That's it. Simple. Beat him out. You couldn't have answered that any better. That was perfect.
Well, that's a coach. I'm a coach. I mean, that's the only way I see things. I think that's why I was successful and why things were good for me. I only see the guys play the guy who was the best one.
Iron sharpens iron.
I remember we had a situation. A kid was transferring from LSU. And the kid who was at third base at the time, he was concerned. And I called him to my office. I said, Antoine, you shouldn't be concerned. You're dealing with a fair coach here. I'm only going to play the guy at third who is the best player. So why are you concerned? And he left with a big smile. He said, that's what I needed to hear, Coach. See, because he knew he could beat the guy out. He just didn't want me to wrench it from him.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just the name of where you come. Oh, this the LSU kid. That's going to automatically, but no, I'll give you an opportunity.
And the kid from LSU played, but as a DH.
Yeah.
Because he really was a good hitter. But I wasn't going to take that job away. My veteran players always told young people, guys, don't worry, coach is a fair coach. He's fair. That's the best advice you can have. That's the best selling point. When kids tell other kids the coach is fair. You know, I was fair with him.
That's all you can ask for. A fair coach. That's why he's a good guy. That's why he's a legend with more Hall of Fames than I can count. He's Roger Cador. I'm Perry White, my man, Garrett Edgerton. It's been another great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button right there at the bottom of this video and be able to get tuned in anytime because we got you today. It's Wednesday. So you was looking for Monday, but sometime we'll throw a little something out there and get you off track. But want to thank you guys for tuning in as always. Hey, it's Chopping Up with Cador. He's Cador. I'm Perry White, and that's Garrett Edgerton. We'll catch you guys again next week.